What is a life without honor? What are your victories worth if you lose yourself to achieve them? You can wear wealth like armor. You can build kingdoms with noise. But when you stand alone, without applause, without shelter, without excuse, only one thing will matter. Did you live with honor? The ancient samurai believed there was something more sacred than survival, more valuable than reputation, more enduring than fear. They believed in a code, carved not in stone but in spirit, a code that could not be bought, borrowed, or broken without consequence, a code where honor stood above life itself, and they lived by it, fought for it, died for it. Because to the samurai, to live without honor was to be already dead. This video is not about war, not about swords or battlefields. It's about something far more dangerous. It's about the moment when you are tempted to betray yourself, to say what you do not mean, to become what you do not admire, to survive instead of stand. This is the path of those who've chosen something harder than victory, something purer than safety, something few understand, but many feel aching in their bones. Stay with me, because what we uncover next may make you see your life, your words, your choices, your silence in an entirely different light. To most people today, honor is mistaken for image, a social mask, a reputation, a brand. But to the samurai, honor was not what others saw. It was what you could not ignore. It was the voice that whispered when the world applauded and told you you were lying. It was the weight you felt when you broke your word, even when no one noticed but you. Honor was the invisible backbone of the warrior. You couldn't see it, but without it, the entire body would collapse. The samurai didn't act with courage because of an audience. They didn't speak with restraint to win praise. They did it because their inner world had rules, unspoken, unshakable, unbending. Honor meant truth even when truth was inconvenient. Honor meant restraint even when rage was justified. Honor meant loyalty even when betrayal could offer comfort. It wasn't about looking noble. It was about being unable to act otherwise. The Ronin, a samurai without a master, still lived by the code. Because the code was never about serving a man, it was about serving your own soul. There is no shortcut to honor, no applause loud enough to fake it, no comfort deep enough to replace it. It is forged in the heat of hard choices, sharpened by silence, and tested, not by the eyes of others, but by the mirror you avoid. The samurai did not crave death. They simply feared something far greater than death. Dishonor, not the shame imposed by others, but the fracture within, the knowing that you turned away from the path, because it was hard, because it cost too much. They trained for death not to become fearless, but to become free. A man who is willing to die is no longer controlled by comfort, no longer a slave to threat, no longer bought by bribes the world disguises as rewards. The one who is prepared to lose everything can act with clarity. Most people hesitate, not because they lack strength, but because they fear what it might cost them. Status, security, safety, life itself. But the samurai learned life without honor is not life. It is existence, a flicker of motion in a hollow frame. That is why they placed honor above breath, above pain, above convenience. They did not fight recklessly. They fought deliberately, with the full knowledge that their actions could be their last, and that their death would either be a whisper of regret or an echo of purpose. They made that choice in every moment, and that is where their power came from. There is a kind of death the world does not mourn because it leaves no body behind. It is the death of the self, the slow erosion of the soul through tiny betrayals done in silence. Not standing up when you know you should, saying yes when your spirit screams no, telling half-truths to fit in, to survive, to be accepted. Each time you bury a part of who you are, not in one loud moment, but one quiet compromise at a time. The samurai feared this death more than the sword, because it comes without honor and leaves nothing behind. A man can fall in battle with courage, but a man who lives without truth is already fallen. The greatest cowardice is not inaction, but in living against your own code. You see it in the eyes of many, that dullness, that fatigue, not from work, but from the weight of living a lie. To the world, they're successful, but internally, they are gone. The samurai reminded us, you don't have to die to be dead. You just have to forget who you are and accept the version the world sells you. But it doesn't have to stay that way, because every act of honor brings life back. Every truth spoken, every temptation resisted, every sacrifice made to preserve your code is a resurrection of the warrior within. Honor is not reserved for the battlefield. It's not summoned only when the stakes are high or when others are watching. Honor lives in the smallest acts. It is in the way you rise in the morning, with or without discipline. It is in how you speak of others when they are not there. It is in your tone, your posture, your intent. To the samurai, the code was not ceremonial. It was constant, invisible, but present in every breath. A warrior does not wait for a test to become honorable. He lives in a way that he is always ready to be tested. Do you return the money when no one notices the mistake? Do you admit fault when no one could prove you wrong? Do you follow through when quitting would cost you nothing? These are the places where true warriors are born. Not on the field, but in the quiet rooms, the lonely choices, the moments where no reward is offered. Only the knowledge that you acted in alignment. That is the code. And once you begin to live by it, you will see the world differently. The noise of approval fades. The need for permission dies. And all that remains is this question: did I act with honor? If the answer is yes, then no matter what happens, no matter what you lose, you remain undefeated. Your strength will fade, your skills will dull, your body will one day betray you. But there is something that survives the warrior, if he has lived with honor. Not titles, not possessions, not fame. Those things dissolve like mist at sunrise. What remains is how you made others feel. The words you kept, the lines you refused to cross, the fire you carried, without ever needing to explain it. A man's name fades, but his code becomes legend in the way it shaped those who came after him. You may never lead an army. You may never carry a sword, but your example is a weapon sharper than steel. Someone is always watching, a son, a stranger, a shadow of your younger self. And when you choose honor over comfort, truth over applause, dignity over gain, you teach others how to live. You show them what cannot be bought, what cannot be corrupted, what cannot be forgotten. The samurai did not chase immortality. They lived in such a way that death had no power over them. And when they were gone, their silence was louder than the noise of 1,000 men. In a world that worships survival, choose something higher. Not safety, not comfort, not convenience. Choose the code. Let others chase applause. Let them bend to the wind of trends, fade in and out of masks, become whatever the world rewards. But you, let your feet be planted in something unshakable, something ancient, something eternal. Let honor be your shadow, your compass, your fire in the dark. When the crowd turns left, the warrior stays still, because his direction is not dictated by noise, but by truth. You do not need recognition to live with dignity. You do not need approval to walk with integrity. You need only this: a code, a choice, and the courage to live it, even if it costs you everything. That is the way of the warrior. That is the way of the samurai. And that is the way you reclaim your soul in a world that has forgotten its own. honor above life. Now go and live as though your spirit depends on it, because it does.